Welcome back to the channel, everyone. When I first got started with welding, this welding trolley was the first thing that I've made, and it served me well over the years, but it's got a few shortcomings. Firstly, it's difficult to access things on the bottom shelf due to this angle iron being in the way. And secondly, because of this handle here and this cross member, it's more difficult to access the controls than it should be. And lastly, and probably the biggest deficiency, is I didn't quite leave enough room at the back for a proper sized gas cylinder, and no good way of actually securing one. So in this video I'm going to be making a much better and improved version of this welding trolley. I hope you find it useful and it gives you a few ideas when making your own welding trolley. Anyway, let's get started. So this is the steel I'll be making it out of. It's pretty much just scrap steel that I had lying around in the shop. I'm going to start off by making the base out of some 50 by 50 square tube. So now that I've got the base all welded up and done, it's time to make the tray for the welder to sit on. I'm making it out of angle iron simply because I have it lying around, and I also wanted the tray to have a bit of a lip so that the welder can't slide off. In case you're wondering, I'm welding this all with gasless MIG simply because it's great on galvanized steel. Now it's time to make the floating shelf for the welder. Here I'm just cutting some flat bar with a bit of an angle so that when I weld the tray on, it angles up a little bit and makes it easier to access the controls on the welder. There's nothing worse than having to redo what you've already done, and in this case I didn't check that the welder fit, and so I had to cut off the tray and these bars and redo them so that the welder was a bit forward because of the angle. It was butting up against this and I couldn't get it to fit. Here I'm bending up some tube that will form the handle and also make the floating tray for the welder able to bear a lot of weight. If you're wondering, this design is really strong. I'm putting nearly all my weight on it and it's handling it no problem. So now I've just got to come up with an idea to hold the cylinder and some hooks on the front and give it a good paint and it'll be nearly done. These pieces are for the bracket that's going to hold the gas cylinder, and I was really after a very simple design that works well for different gas cylinder, and this is what I came up with. I think it's going to work well and it's very easy to make. I found these two pieces in the scrap pile. I've got no idea what it's from, but I think these part here will make great hooks for hanging the wires and the torch. So the welding card is nearly finished. I've already cut out the metal for this shelf here for the welder. It just needs a good paint, and I'll bring you back once it's finished and show you the final product. Welding cart is finished and I think it turned out pretty well. I really like this design. It makes everything easily accessible on the bottom shelf, and the welder is right where you want it to be to change knobs. You don't really have to bend over or anything, and the handle is in the right position. Anyway, I hope you find this video interesting and useful, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.